One of the big issues at Westminster this month has been that of EU nationals. We have a large number of EU citizens that live amongst us here in East Renfrewshire. They're our friends, our next door neighbours and our colleagues. And there was a lobby of EU nationals at Westminster where people were making their concerns known. And I think it is a very concerning thing for people that there is such uncertainty about their status. I did hope to speak in a debate on that topic at Westminster. Unfortunately, I wasn't taken. It was a very heavily oversubscribed debate, but I did record my speech because I thought it was important that people understood where I stand on this issue. I do think it is vital that we don't treat our friends and neighbours as bargaining chips. Clearly this is a time of change, but there is no reason for us to not give certainty to those people who are our friends and have lived in our communities. I also spoke this month about the proposed state visit of President Trump to the UK. I do not support President Trump being invited for a state visit. I think it's unnecessary and unhelpful. A number of people have real concerns about some of the language and actions which his administration have very quickly put into place, and I understand these concerns. Of course, if the UK government wish President Trump to visit the country, that is entirely up to them, but the pomp and ceremony of a state visit seemed to me to be something that we don't need at this time. The UK government committed at the end of last year to taking in 3,000 unaccompanied child refugees from Europe. Obviously these are children who are in terrible peril, they're alone in a strange continent, and they are absolutely in their hour of need. However, we have recently heard that this number is to be cut to 350. That is a huge downturn in the number of these vulnerable people who we're willing to take in. I think it's really concerning. I can't think of any group more vulnerable than unaccompanied child refugees, and I will continue to press the UK government to reconsider their position. It was very upsetting for many people in the debate to hear some Conservative members suggest that we were being too sentimental in being concerned for these children. I don't think it is sentimental, and if it is, then I'm unashamed to be sentimental about that issue. It was very exciting this month to be in Parliament for the Istanbul Convention bill passing through. This is a bill which aims to prevent and eliminate violence against women and girls across the world. It's a really important subject, and I know it's close to the hearts of many of you. My colleague, Dr. Ailey Whiteford, had managed to bring this through Parliament as a private member's bill, and that is a first. So I really commend her, and I do know that the work which this bill will allow to take place will make a very positive difference to people in very difficult circumstances. This month I have undertaken a number of pieces of work and participated in a number of debates in relation to the armed forces, which is my particular role. I've looked at defence estates. It's unfortunate that the Ministry of Defence proposes to significantly reduce the defence estate footprint in Scotland, which has a knock-on effect for our conventional defence capability. And I've also looked at the Armed Forces Covenant. We do have a duty of care to those who serve or who have served in our armed forces. Particularly, I'm interested in post-service employment. I think that the Ministry of Defence can do much more, and I'm encouraging them to do that, to make sure that when people come out of the forces, then they are able to move into a job and to move on with their life. I did take the opportunity in that debate to raise the case of Billy Irving, my constituent who is an armed forces veteran, and he remains in jail in India. I've also written to the Foreign Secretary asking him to expedite matters as far as possible so that when Billy is hopefully released, he is able to return home as soon as possible. In my role as the co-chair of the all-party parliamentary group on drones, I've been involved this month in pushing the UK government for some more transparency on the use of armed drones. It isn't good enough for them to act without parliamentary scrutiny. All military action does require parliamentary scrutiny, and I think we would all wish that. It is important that we're open and that we all understand what the legal frameworks and what the human issues may be surrounding the use of armed drones. And finally this month I have been involved in a lot of work in relation to the all-party group on the Connaught Income Fund, which I chair. And this is a fund which collapsed a number of years ago, leaving people, including a number of East Renfrewshire residents, financially in a very difficult situation. I have had meetings with the group, with the Financial Conduct Authority, and also with the Complaints Commissioner as we continue to try and push forward towards a resolution for those who have lost out. It's been a really interesting month. If there is anything that you would like me to be working on for you, I'm always keen to hear from you, and thank you all very much for being in touch.